So far on ukulele, like on guitar, I've been doing the lessons where we add one piece of information each time we come together. If we know our string names, we can learn a few notes on those strings. Once we've learned a few notes on those strings, we can put them into scales. We can also put them into melodies. We learned one chord, the C, then the C7, then the F, fill up the F with its other finger, then the G7, putting them all together one bit at a time. Today I'm going to use the primary chord chart to introduce you to a whole bunch of chords. You won't be able to get them all in one shot here, but that's not going to be the purpose. What I want to do is explore how the chord chart works a little bit. To get a better view of it though, go into the playlist for primary chords and follow it even on guitar. The theory is going to be the same and all the maths will work out the same way. I won't go as deep into the math today, but I just want to put the chords together so you can see which ones to work on and then learn the concept of guide and anchor fingers. So our primary chords, as you know, are 1, 4, and 5. They are the tonic, the home tone or the root of the scale. The dominant is the 5 chord. You can hear tension on the 5 chord that sends you back to the 1. In this case I played G7 and C. The 5 chord is dominant. It creates the dissonance that resolves to the 1. It tonicizes the 1, the tonic chord. This is the subdominant. The 4 chord, it's just below the dominant. So if G is the 5, the dominant, F is the first note below it. It's also major, and it's the subdominant. F to G to C. That's your perfect cadence. 4, 5, 1. So those are the first chords you learned. The C chord, F. If I leave my pointer on that F note on the second string, I can turn into the G7. Got a 2, a 1, and a 2. And I slide that back into C. So there we have both of these concepts, the anchor finger and the guide finger. So you've got C. I also did C7 with you. We rolled that onto the next string for an F2. Grab the A note on the 4th string with the middle finger. Now your pointer is an anchor. It doesn't move, it stays there as I turn into G7. Notice what I don't do. I don't have my hand in this position and then force my fingers into the chords. I have my hand loose where the wrist and fingers are free. The F chord fits perfectly this way. When I want to move the second finger onto the next string for the G chord, the G7 chord, I just tilt my hand to pull that finger down onto that string and add my ring finger. I'm exaggerating the motion in the wrist and elbow right now to show you though how it's the hand position that changes. I'm not re-gripping like this, but rather just using my wrist to move the fingers. Here's the F. Wrist pulls that finger onto the 3rd string, at which point I add this finger. Ring finger adds in, goes away, adds in, goes away. In other videos, I've really exaggerated the changes and gotten my fingers out of the way so you can see what's happening, but this is actually how I'm playing them. F to G7, F to G7. You'll hardly see any change in what the hand conformity is. So there again, C, C7, not in the key of C, but we use it anyway for fun. F, guide finger, anchor finger to G7. This finger, the ring finger on the 2nd fret of G7, is my guide. It slides 1 fret up into C. The guide finger remains on 1 string as you change chords. So from C to G7, that finger would remain on the 1st string and slide you in. Again, when I show you that I'm on a C, I get all my fingers out of the way. I can slide back into G7 and put these on. When I'm actually playing it though, you may not know that I'm on a C because I'm going to slide the chord up. The ring finger is now in place, but I'm not, and I've taken these fingers off the strings, but they're still close. So G7, I slide back and put them on. C, I slide forward and take them off. So if you're trying to get up your speed on your chords, what you don't want to do is look at the pictures of them. Okay, now what's G7? This. But our fingers want to do that. As soon as you relax pressure on a chord, your fingers scatter like you opened the door and the cats all ran out. What I try to do is keep them leashed. Slide, press. Slide and release, slide and press. That's how you get speed built into your chords. The other thing, if you're having trouble with your chords getting it there on time, be prepared for them. When you're reading your music, look ahead to the next bars. When you're sitting on a C chord, so many people would watch all 8 beats, for instance, of C on their page. C, 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 C. Oh no, G7. Instead, once you've initiated C, glance ahead and see that G7's coming. Okay, I got a G7 coming. I'm getting ready for it. So when you get there, you're prepared. The moment you land that G7, figure out the next chord. See what's coming so you're not going to be staring at the page on all the G7s until the next chord gets there. In my primary chord chart then, the 5th chord, the G, becomes the new key. One reason for doing this is just to allow you to use the chords you already know to build up a new key. So the key of G has both the C and G again, but we'll add a D or a D7. So I've got my G and my C. When I go to C from a G, I could pick this finger up and put it on the next string. Or if I'm doing a lot of them, I'll just roll over onto the C. You'll see my finger angle then is not perfect, but it's preparing me to roll back onto the fingertip in G. And then we need our D chord. Depending on how you've learned it, we've got guides and anchors in this as well. Most books will tell you to use all 3 fingers in order: pointer, 2nd, and 3rd on the 2nd fret, on the 4th string, 3rd string, and 2nd string. Then my guide is the ring finger into the G. These 2 fingers, which are sitting together in the 2nd fret, will split up. 1st string, the guide is sitting where it belongs. 3rd string. When I go back, these 2 fingers go together to the 4th and 3rd strings, and the guide finger slides in. In 2 motions, you might see the guide come out, these fingers split up and move to their strings. Then they can go back, and the guide finger comes back. In reality, when you're good at it, they'll move together. They'll move simultaneously. These pick up and start splitting while this slides. They start to come back together into the D while this one drags back. That would be your practice at whatever speed it takes. Force yourself to do those motions. Just because you can do this one a little faster at first because you've habituated it, doesn't mean that's what you should continue to do. The right move is to slide this finger and move these together. So train those to work that way, even though it's not natural and even though it's slower at first. The D7 is even easier because you only need 1 finger added. It can be either your pointer or your 2nd finger on that 4th string. Some people use these 2 fingers. If so, you don't have a guide finger anymore, but these 2 will maintain the exact same relationship when you go into the G. So they come up a string into D, that's technically down. I'm saying up just because you're probably thinking that, then back into the G. Notice they maintain this shape. So if those are the fingers you use in D7, practice the motion that way. Notice again the minimal motion I have. Those fingers move together and the ring finger is pulling in and out. G, D7, G, D7, G, D7. Notice I'm very close to this note on the G, even when I'm not on that chord. Now you have your D chord, move into the key of D. That's the 5th of G to become our new key. G comes over as the fourth, and we add an A. So you've got your D, guide finger into G. If I go into A from here, I've got a nice guide finger. The pointer slides back on the third string, and the middle finger grabs the fourth string. So A back to G, the middle finger goes to the first string as the pointer guides or slides into the second fret for the G, and I add the point of the triangle, the G note. So going back to A from G, ring finger comes off, pointer slides back, middle finger drops the fourth string. Opposite when I go back. Ring finger is going to add on the second string, middle finger will go to the first string, pointer will slide to the second fret on the third string. Again, you see it's one motion when you're practiced. Again, when you look at your pictures, you think of them as snapshots. You'll play your A, throw it away, build your G in whatever order you've learned, maybe middle finger first. And you'll always wonder why you're not getting faster. The way to get faster is to drill that one move. You're not going to do all this in one day. If you've never used the guide finger from G7 to C, for instance, work on that. Don't bother trying to learn the D yet if you don't know it, but come back to this video and learn these guys when appropriate. The A chord to the D chord now, there are no guides or anchors if you do the three-finger D with the ring finger on the second string. But you can still practice economy of motion. The pointer on the third string and middle finger on the fourth for the A chord will trade with each other. The middle finger goes onto the third string, pointer wraps around to the fourth, and you add your ring finger. Twist back into A, twist into D. Again, if we were playing a song and I was teaching you the A, I might make it look like this so you could see which fingers are in place. In reality, my ring finger is hardly going to leave. There's my A. You might think the ring finger is being used, but it's not touching anything right now. It's waiting to touch down in D. Pointer and second finger reverse again. Ring finger comes out. There's my A to D. A to D. A7 is just this finger, pointer on the third string. Again, that's going to make your changes hard if you're doing like I am, hiding these fingers away and then coming and building a D. When I'm on A7 from here, although I'm only using one finger, these are waiting to get back to D. Or this is sliding into G. Pointer slides back into A7, forward into G. Those are the kinds of drills you want to do. Take two chords of the primary chords and go back and forth, C and F, then C and G, or C and G7, then F and G, and F and G7, and then put them all together and start scrambling them up. C, F, C, G, F, G, C, G7, F, G7, C. Same thing with this key, that's what I was doing here. Now the A chord, the fifth chord of D, becomes the 1 in the key of A. D slides over as the 4, and we'll add E's or E7s. This chord is fairly distant on the road of your progression. We don't usually do it right away, but the E7 we do. So let's take a look at that. Here's your A. To do E7, we need this shape. 1, 2, open second string, and another 2. So when you practice it, your first instinct will be to play an A, throw it away, and cipher your E7 chord, throw it away, and get back to A. When you've got them memorized well, you might be fairly quick at that, but you're still going to have all this conglomeration of fingers. What I'm looking for then is from A to E7. These two fingers are trading strings with each other. Pointer up to the fourth string or down, middle finger onto the third string. So here they are, third string and fourth, and they switch to fourth string and third, and then the ring finger adds. There's no finger staying on its fret or sliding on a string, so I don't have a guide or an anchor finger, but I still look for the economy of motion with these two. I'm trying to draw straight lines with each finger from one fret to the next, rather than picking up and coming back and looking for its fret. So there's your A again to E7. E7 into D does have a guide. The pointer will slide up a fret. It has an anchor because the middle finger doesn't move. And then the ring finger slides up onto the second string. So looking at the pictures, which are very different, you may never get the sense that the D and the E7 have so much in common. But when you do them well, there's hardly anything happening. Middle finger stays where it is, pointer slides in, ring finger changes strings. So E7, D. And you can practice that 10 times or so. The actual number of practices is actually better expressed as a fraction. You'd like to get 3 or 4 good practices in a row where this is exactly what you want. You want 3/4 of your playing to be good. So if I get one motion and the next isn't good, then I've got one good one and one bad one. I want 2 more good ones, so I've got 3 out of 4 are good changes. So sometimes I'm looking at my fingers to actually see where they're going, like so. If I made 2 mistakes in one set, I'd like to get 7 or 8 good iterations of it, so that I'm up to 70 or 80% good chord changes. The E is a hard one. The E has your pointer on the first string, 3 notes on the 4th fret of strings 2, 3, and 4. Depending on how your fingers work, you may accomplish this with fewer fingers. You may lay the pointer down on a couple of strings, ring finger on the 2nd, middle finger on 4th and 3rd, or the ring finger could catch 2 strings and the pinky 1. I still use all 3, although it's a little tricky. If I am using this though for E, and I'm going quickly to a D, I'll use the exact same 3 fingers as all guiding into the D. All I'm doing then is sliding the D chord up 2 frets, because E's 2 frets over a D, and add the pointer. Again, when I'm sliding well, you won't know what the pointer's doing. It's coming off for the D and back on for the E. I was going to add the minor chords into this chart, but this has already taken way longer than I expected, so I'm going to stop here and leave you to practice your 1-4-5s. Every time we talk about it, try to review it. The 1, 4, and 5 are the primary chords. They're the 3 major chords in any key: the tonic, subdominant, and dominant. In C, they're C, F, G, G, C, D, D, G, A, and A, D, and E. We'd have an F, a B flat, and a C. I left room to do that here, but I'm running out of time, so let's stop there. Try to use this just as an inventory. I'm going to put up a picture of all the chord changes here in a second. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.